Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So it's been a really long time since I've sat down and filmed one of these powerlifting related videos, so I'm trying to get back on track. So basically today I'm going to talk about RPE, what RPE is, who should use RPE in your training, how to improve rating RPEs, and basically everything you need to know about RPEs. You might have heard me talk about RPEs in my other videos or when I talk about my lifts in my vlogs. So I would say like I do a set of 225 squats for 5 and it was RPE 7, or I put like the at symbol and say at 7, and that is like at what intensity. So yeah, I have a bunch of stuff written down and I'm gonna talk about like the benefits of using RPE over percentages and the common mistakes I see when people use RPE and flaws of RPE and all of that kind of stuff. And on top of this, I will be putting up clips of my training from the past 2 weeks or so, and also I'll put up what RPE I think the set was, so you guys can kind of see what an RPE 7, 8, whatever it looks like. I will be putting this into my Powerlifting Basics series since RPE is a widely used tool in powerlifting. And also, if you haven't checked out those videos, I go over everything on how to start powerlifting, equipment you need, how to squat, bench, and deadlift, things I wish I knew before lifting, and all of those kind of stuff. So definitely check that out if you haven't already. And yeah, let's get on with the video. So first of all, what is RPE? So RPE stands for rate of perceived exertion. So basically measure the intensity of the set, so how heavy something is or how hard it feels. So it's a rating system that allows us to quantify and measure how hard something feels to you at that time. So it's a subjective measure of your strength at a certain given time. However, it is not 100% subjective. So for example, I know where an RPE 8 squat single is at. It's not like today I warm up with the bar, I feel tired, I'll do an 8 single at 200 instead of 270. So I know where my RPE 8 single is. It's just like 5 or 10 pounds up and down depending on how I feel that day. So RPE allows you to regulate your training intensity based on the condition you are in right now. So not based on your last meet or based on yesterday or even the set before. And RPE is a range from 1 to 10, and 10 is max effort, and we usually don't use anything under 5. I only use 5 when I do like either deload work or singles, just to like get used to heavier weight. So if 10 is max effort, that means you have 0 reps left in the tank. And left in the tank just means like how many reps you have left that you could do. So 10 is you cannot do any more reps. 9 is you could do 1 more rep. 8 is you could do 2 more reps. 7 is you could do 3 more reps. 6 you could do 4 more reps. 5 you could do 5 more reps. And that is like for a set. So if I do a set of 5, after the set of 5 you say I could do 3 more reps of that, then that set will be at RPE 7 because 10 minus 7 is 3. And we also use 0.5 RPEs, and 0.5 is for like maybe you could do another rep or you could do a half a rep. So a RPE 7.5 would mean that you could do 2 reps for sure and maybe half a rep, or between 2 or 3 reps. So 0.5 RPEs do make a huge difference. And for accessory work, it's how many more reps you can do with good or okay form. A little bit of form breakdown toward the end of a set is allowed, but like swinging your whole body to try to do a bicep curl, I wouldn't count that as a rep. And also, it's not how many more reps you wish you could do or how many more reps you could do with a peak. It's just based on that day, how many more reps you can do. And opposite of RPE, there's this thing called RIR. RIR stands for reps in reserve, so how many more reps you have left in the tank basically. So RP 10 means RIR 0, RP 9 is RIR 1, RP 8 is RIR 2. Just based on what I usually do and what I see in programs, RIR is usually used for not set rep ranges. So coach will give me leg extensions 3 set a blank RIR 2, or push-ups 3 sets a blank, and I just do however many reps I could do with 2 reps in the tank. On the other hand, RPE, usually coach gives me like a set number of reps to do, and I try to make that set RP 8 instead of me deciding on the number of reps, if that makes sense. So why is RPE important? So RPE, in my opinion and in a lot of other people's opinion, is the best way to track your effort and fatigue. So quantifying how you feel or how hard a set is a really good way to track your progress, and it allows you to reflect on your performance in a different aspect. And we also talk about RPE PRs. So if you hit 240 for a triple, at RPE 8 2 weeks ago, and this week you can hit 240 for a triple at RPE 7, you are making progress. So even if the numbers are not going up, if your RPE is going down, you are still getting stronger. And some people just say, oh, it moved faster, but RPE is just a way to quantify it. And also it's a great way to communicate with your coach how hard a set feels, so your coach can make adjustments or you can make your adjustments. I do that with accessories a lot. And also it's really good to track your fatigue. I did not understand the concept of fatigue when I started lifting, and that's really bad. You can't just go max effort and go until you die with every single set, because you're gonna over fatigue yourself, and you want your body to recover faster than you tear your body apart when training. So RPE is a way for you to track your fatigue. So now I'm going to talk about the benefits of using RPEs over percentages. So in a lot of programs you see percentages like a squat at 77%, and you put in 77% of your max and do that for however many reps. So I'm going to talk about why RPE is better than percentages. First of all, is with RPEs you can adjust how you are feeling on that certain day. So an RPE triple today might be a different RPE triple the next day, depending on what you do in the morning or what time you work out, a bunch of different factors. So percentages don't always work accurately with that, with managing fatigue. Also just a bunch of other reasons. So if you don't max out very often, then your maxes are not accurate. So for me, I only max out or get close to maxing out at my meets. So that's like every 3 months or so. For beginners, of course, you max out more often because your body can handle that. But now it's just like at meets. So I'm pretty sure I added some weight to my squat, bench, and deadlift since my meet. Or sometimes if your meet, you didn't get your third attempt, so you didn't end up hitting a PR, but of course you still made improvement, then your percentage number is not really accurate in telling you what your max is. And you can like guess where your max is, but that's also not very accurate. And also, the other way around, if you hit a PR at a meet, that is when you have peaked for a meet. So when you're not peaked, you are not as strong. So if you tell me to go to the gym and squat 287, which is what I hit at high school nationals a few weeks ago, I cannot squat 287 right now because I'm not peaked. I'm carrying a lot more fatigue. I'm in a hypertrophy phase, so that number is not that accurate as my max today. Also, if you're a beginner and have newbie gains, or you just improved a lot and you can literally hit an RPE 8 single above your max, percentages don't work because there is not a single program out there that says hit a number at 105% or 101% of your max. That just doesn't exist. But with RPEs, you can literally hit numbers above your max but still at whatever program RPE it is. So an RPE 8 single might be higher than your max, and you can do that with RPE training instead of with percentage training. Another factor is the order you complete your workout. So if you do squats first and then you do deadlifts, then you're gonna be more tired when you get to deadlift. So with RPE, you can adjust the weight down when compared to just doing deadlifts first because you're more fatigued after you do squats. Another thing about percentages that don't work is what do you do for accessory work or variations. So for variations like pause squats, some people can pause squat pretty close to their max, while some people cannot do that. So what percentage do you choose for pause squat? Like, no one knows what works best for you. So that's where RP training comes in, because you know how hard a set feels with pause squats or whatever like that. Same thing with accessories. I don't think anyone knows their 1 rep max to their bicep curls, their tricep push downs, lat pull downs, cable rows, whatever. You don't know your max for that, but you still have to find a way to manage your fatigue and pick numbers. So that's where RPE comes in. And lastly, a reason why RPEs are really helpful is that they're really good for singles up to a meet, because at a meet, ideally for your first, second, and third attempt, you pick RP 6.5 to 7, and then 7.5 to 8.5, and then 9 to 10 RPs for the respective first, second, third attempt. If you hit a lot of singles and judge their RPE, it's gonna make picking your meet attempts so much easier because you know what weight is what RPE. So next I'm gonna talk about some flaws and common mistakes I see with RPE. So first of all, RPE looks different for every single person. So some lifters are more explosive or more fast lifters. Some lifters are more slow and steady lifters. Some people look like they're grinding out every single rep, but they can still do more. But while some people go up and down really fast, for example for squats, and then they literally cannot do another rep. So RPE looks different for every single person. It really depends on who you are as a lifter. So don't try to compare how your RPE 8 looks to what someone else's RPE 8 looks. You can compare a little to make a generalization, but everyone is still different. Second is that RP is not for everyone. So if you're really lazy, RP is not that good for you because you probably would just say, oh, I'll just hit a like super light single and call it an RP7. Or if you're really reckless, like you almost fail a lift and you still call it an RP7. So RP is not the best for super lazy people or overly reckless people, but like to the end of it, it's just being honest with yourself and honestly rating your RPEs. And also RP can depend on how you execute the rep. So if you do a rep really sloppy and like don't brace and don't think about your form, it could be a much higher RP than it could have been. So that's why I say always try to use your best technique even with lighter weights, because if you do a rep in a messy way, then it could increase your RPE, which you don't want. Always try to aim for lower RPEs. A lot of times you could do more reps than you think you can do. So for example, especially with the leg extension, so I do like 3 sets of 12 to 14-ish. Like my quads are burning and hurting by the 5th rep, but I can still end up doing like 8 or 9 reps after that with still more left in the tank. So feeling you're sore or having a slow-ish rep does not mean you cannot do more. Okay, so now I'm gonna go over how me as a intermediate advanced lifter pick weights based on what RPE my coach gives me. And I'll talk about what beginners should do with this information and RPE and all of that kind of stuff right after I talk about this. Okay, so for my main lifts like squat, bench, and deadlift, where I have a max, usually I rely on my previous workouts the most. So what I do is I go through my journal, or if you have a database or whatever, you just go through everything and see in the past what you hit at what rep range and at what RPE. If I did do a triple of squats at 250 2 months ago, RP7, then if I have a triple for squats, RP7 this week, I would do 255 maybe, because I'm guessing I improved in the last 2 months. Or if that was RP8, then I could do the same weight and try to hit it for RP7 this time. So always try to assume you improved a tiny bit. So if coach gives me a set of 3 at RP7, then I look back at my previous workouts, I look for doubles, triples, or 4 reps, and I look at the RPEs around 7, so RP6, 7, 8, or the 0.5s. And what I do is I just try to gauge how much I should do for this week. This is kind of hard to explain, but if I did a set of 4 at 240 RP7 a few weeks ago, then for a triple at RP7, I would add a little bit of weight because I'm doing 1 less rep. Or if it's a double in the past, I would subtract some weight, and you just work around that to try to find the perfect number. Or there's also a chart online which kind of defeats the purpose of RPE, because RPE is how you feel, but it's just a general chart of what percentage of your max correlates with what RPE and what rep range. You take your max, you times the percentage, and you get a number. And I would only use this if you don't have anything similar in the rep range or the RPE of the exercise you are doing from previous workouts. And this should just be your baseline, that you kind of look at the numbers in that range instead of just doing the number exactly on the page, because that just defeats the purpose of RPE. And then what I do is when I warm up that day, I kind of see how I feel and decide if whether I want to go up 5 pounds, down 5 pounds, or stay the same number. And next I'm going to talk about how I judge my RPEs. So I judge them based on 2 things, speed and feeling. So right after I complete a set, I think of how many more reps I could have done. So if I could do 2 more reps, then it would be RP8. And then I watch my video and try to match the feeling of the bar speed to what I see in the video. For example, if the bar speed was super fast, but I felt it was heavy, I know it was just a perception thing and not actually strength, because strength correlates with bar speed a little bit more than how you feel. If the weight feels heavy, it doesn't mean you can't lift it. Like at my last meet, when I was walking out my 287 squat, it literally felt so heavy I was about to collapse, but I still stood it up. So yeah, and it adjusts the weight if you need between the sets. So if you have 3 sets and the first set was too easy, then add weight for the next set, or drop the weight if the first set was too hard. If you want to see how I warm up, like how many warm-up sets I take before a big squat or whatever, check out my how to warm up video. I'll put it here or in the description box below. So for accessories, I usually don't have a lot of warm-up. So basically I just look at a previous workout and see what weight I used to do and how I'm feeling right now, and kind of go from there and assume I improved a tiny bit. And of course this is common sense, but RP increases between your sets. So your first set might be RP6, second set RP7, third set RP8. That's kind of like what happens, because the more tired you get, the higher the RP is. Okay, so finally, what do you do with RPE and all this information as a beginner? So I don't recommend basing your SBD work on RPEs as a beginner, because as a beginner you could probably add 5 pounds every workout, so there's no point in like trying to figure out, oh, I want to hit RPE 8s and go, because you're improving so fast with newbie gains. But beginners should still think about what RPE each set was and how many more reps they have in the tank after every set, to get used to knowing how you feel and to get used to understanding the RPE ratings. So as any kind of lifter, you should always think of how many more reps did I have in a tank after a set. Also, I think beginners should do a thing called anchoring sets. Basically, you pick one accessory movement per week maximum. So don't do this more than 1 set per week. So basically, you just pick one accessory movement out of your workout and you just do 1 set of it. Instead of doing 3 sets, you just do 1 set. And also, this is only for accessory movement. Please don't do this for squat and deadlift, especially. For bench, it's like okay, but I don't think it's that worth it. Do it for like tricep push-downs, bicep curls, leg extensions, calf raises, those kind of stuff. So basically, do a set to what you think is your RPE 8. And then right when you get to there, kind of like make a mental note, oh, I did, for example, 10 reps and I think that was RPE 8. And then you continue doing the set to see how many more reps you can do, and do it until you actually fail. Like if you're doing bicep curls, not like, oh, that was a really slow rep, I'll count that as RPE 10. Like actually try to go up again, and if you can't go up all the way with decent form, then the last rep was the RPE 10 rep. And if you could do 2 more reps, then you were really accurate with your RPE rating. If you could do less than that or more than that, then you're either overestimating or underestimating your RPE. This is a really good way to understand your body and understand RPE ratings and know how many reps you can actually do of an exercise. So yeah, I really recommend doing anchoring sets, but please don't do this more than 1 set per week. Not 1 set per workout, 1 set per week, because doing too much RPE 10 work can over fatigue you. And yeah, so that is basically it for all you need to know about RPEs. Hope you guys learned something. If you guys have any questions, don't forget to leave them down in the comments below and I will answer them. Also, like the video if you did, and subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss another one of my videos. Also, let me know what else you want me to make and I'll try to post a bit more. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.